High-grade Gundam Legilis. What's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, GundamReviews.net, and it's time to take a look at the parts of the high-grade Legilis. You've already seen the unbox before putting it together into a pretty ominous good guy, bad guy looking MS. With empty plates in the familiar colors, here's what you're going to be getting with the main body parts there. You can see a little bit of armor off on the waist section to go along with the chest in multiple parts and the wings/cannon. With weapons including the Legilis rifle there to go along with the Legilis shield and just the regular yellow beam sabers. You're also going to be getting a different set of eyes if you want to put that in. That's in gray there with an actual sticker attached onto it. 3 extra manipulators, and you're going to have a base if you want to put the Legilis core up on an action base. Right to it, bottom to top, and it's going to be interesting to take a look at how much of this yellow and all the color details are going to be provided by seals and how much are done by plastic. But the legs do definitely a good job of keeping it all in the plastic form. First of all, the thigh is going to have this cool looking part on the inside. We've seen that on some earlier kits in Gundam Age. Still a nice little touch, even if you're not going to see it all that often. But where it is going to be nice is that when you bend down the knee, you're going to have a nice yellow part there. I just went with some black lining in there. Perhaps you could use some other colors. And you're going to get a bend of almost 90 there. And when you do this, you're going to get the knee with a nice cover looking on the front. Definitely not awkward. You can see a little bit more gray than you'd like perhaps. But still, that nice little yellow detail that's going to be sealed up and still visible front and side is looking great. Down below, it's even more impressive because you've got these yellow parts there. They're not the same on the inside and outside of the legs. But you're also going to have 3 pieces of Adidas striping attached into there. And when you come down to the ankles, you're going to have the ankle guard here, which is going to move up and down just a little bit, so not all that much, but it's also not going to get in the way. And you can see that he's got some really long ankles in there. The plus being that he's got 4 colors in short succession there, the gray, the white, the red, and a ton of yellow, which is still going to be visible from the sides and the back. And for mobility, you're going to be able to move it off like that, and forward and back a fair bit. The waist section introduces stickers to the whole deal, but you're going to have some nice coloring on the front with the red jewel there, mainly in white, yellow Adidas striping that's going to run all the way to the back. You've also got a cap here that you can pop off if you want to put in an action base too, but it's on the front armor where this is just going to be done by one piece, some gray lining in there, and they're going to give you some yellow seals, and you'll notice that they don't quite fit in there perfectly. But anyway, from any reasonable distance on your shelf, you're not really going to notice, and it's not going to be too detrimental. You can see that these parts probably are going to fall off a little bit, but he doesn't have side skirts, but it is sort of cool that the back armor here is going to be provided by 2 different pieces. So you've got this one that you're going to put another piece on. I thought that would make it a little bit easier to put on the seals, but no, you've just got a small yellow seal there, and this part that goes on the side, and hopefully it's not going to fall off when you're posing it in MS mode. Here is the chest, which has more gray than I realized before putting it together, but the most noticeable thing is that you're going to have that green seal there for a cannon on the chest, and that's put on a rounded part, which means it's not going to fit on there all that well. You do have the 3 traditional vents done up in yellow, except they're going to be this way instead of horizontal, and you do have a black seal that goes on the inside, otherwise that's all in yellow. Bandai again doing a good job of getting lots of yellow apps out of a single piece, just well inserted on the inside. You can see that everything's going to be hollow back here, and you only have the 3 blue parts. The shoulders here are going to pop out a little bit, and then you're going to be able to take this part. You can see where the backpack is going to attach on. You've just got a PC6 up here, some Adidas striping that's going to get completely lost, but that is just going to slide in there, provide a few more nice details in terms of the white around the neck. Before the arms do a good job of again keeping up that yellow theme all over the place. Down below, these are going to be seals, but because they're on the back of the arms, you're not really going to notice them that much unless you're going for an old, hey, how you doing kind of pose like that. But for the shoulders themselves, you can see that they're going to be white parts snapped together with a nice solid yellow piece on the inside. You've got the Adidas striping that's going to be very visible, and you can even see it from the front, which is a nice touch. But more interesting is going to be that you've got this through the shoulders. Some black lining is a little bit off-putting there. I really probably would be nice to try another color there. But for the elbows themselves, you're going to get a nice bend there of about 135, and the very familiar UE Vulcans down there on the hand, which you can also attach in the yellow beam sabers to, and a shield mounting point. But now to look at his angry angel wings here, you can see where this is going to attach on, and you're not going to have anything too fancy down there, but you do have a nice bit of yellow propulsion sticking out there on the back, very visible from the side or the back. For the tail cannon itself, it's going to be pretty cool here, as you can see when it folds out, that you're going to be able to rotate it around in all sorts of points, so you're going to be able to do all sorts of things with this. I don't know whether it's going to come over the shoulder or just have to go down around the hips or through the legs, as we've seen with the Danazine or the Dorado, was it? And some of them looking pretty silly. But it is a nice little piece here because you're not going to have any lining opportunities. Well, you could do a little bit of edging, but they are going to give you this nice little spiky part there that's going to fit on and doesn't seem too flexible or breakable, which is a good thing. But it's the wings that are the definite plus of this kit. From the front, you're going to see that gray on the inside, and when you open it up, you're going to see that they put in a lot of effort. These could have just been flat, but instead they've got these cool looking ribs, and I like that some of them are exposed no matter how you seal this up. For the attachment point here, you can see that this is going to rotate around, do too much with it, and it's just going to pop off of the poly cap. You have some black seals there, which add a nice touch because you're not going to really see this dark poly cap on the inside. But the plus, instead of just opening up like this, is because it is on a poly cap, you can rotate these around, and you should be able to set up some pretty cool looking poses with this part, just not so much with this attachment point. Disappointment though in the form of the weapons, because I'd say that the design is very, very cool, and with the advanced grade you've got a similar design from the side, just a lot thinner. Except with this, I was really hoping that with high grade they'd be able to, you've got so many white plates from this kit, as you can see back there. It would have been nice if they had just put on a white piece there, which they were showing off on all the painted pros. It should be white here and here. Definitely not all that hard if you just want to prime or tape it, prime it, and paint it up itself. It's just, it seems large enough that they could have just put something on that clips in. And anyway, that's the kind of thing that you can hope for in the master grade. On to details though, you're going to have a green seal down there for the barrel and up there for the scope, so it's looking pretty good if, outside of that disappointment. But the shield does not, for a few reasons. First of all, on the back, I probably should have gone through that with a lining marker, but you can see where you're going to have this plug in to the forearms. It'll actually work on the left or right arm, no problem at all. You can see a little bit of red poking through. In an ideal world and on a master grade, you can guess that this would probably be gray on the inside. That would be nice. But on the front, that's more important, and you've got 3 colors in short order. That's great. With some black lining again on the yellow, I went brown on the red there. But what you want to do, and I thought it was going to be a slide mechanism, but it's not. You can actually go and pop this out. And when you do that, I was moving the wrong piece there. You're going to have a big shiny green sticker that seems a little bit oversized when you put it in, but it's definitely not a bad thing. And instead of putting it into that deep hole there, you're just going to put it into the shallow recess. And when you do that, you're still going to have some yellow on display there, which is going to look great. The red part is up, and all of a sudden that longer seal is going to be justified because depending on the angle, you can actually see on the inside, and the only thing you have to be afraid of now is yellow popcorn lightning shooting through the air. Here are the manipulators, and you can see that you're going to have 2 folded up claws there. You're going to have 2 beam Vulcans in hand, so you can do dual beam sabers. But in terms of a weapon holding hand, you're only going to have it here for the right hand in the rifle. Here it is in the palm of the hand, as you can see that it's going to attach into the Vulcans down there. It is going to have a little bit of posability even without moving the hand, but then again, it's definitely not going to be the same as having it held in hand that you can have it either going up or down with. The head sets up that little bit of menace there, as it's going to look definitely different, I'd say, from a regular good guy head. You're going to have pretty much all white there with just that little bit of lining. You can put some more along that part, along the top. These parts I've also cut off to get rid of the child safety, so I hope that it doesn't fall into somebody's eye. But it's so great that we're going to have this many colors provided in this small area. You can see that the Vulcans up there on the head are going to be provided in brown. And beside the face, you've also got it. And you've got a nice yellow part there that's going to provide both the bottom, and it's going to go through and be on either side. It's a little bit shallow, so you're going to have to be a little bit careful when you're lining that. And it's the same thing with the face paint. You're only going to have the red goatee, which is actually capped at the bottom. This is just one solid white piece that just surrounds it with a hole in the middle. And a little bit, you're going to have to be careful with the lining. I chose to go with the 2 eyes there because that's definitely more Zeheart as opposed to Ezelkant. One thing though that I'm not too crazy about though is that it's got a pink seal up there. I thought it was going to be red just before putting this kit together, but it's not going to fit in there all that well, so you've got a little bit of gray underneath it showing off. Actually adds a little bit of illusion of depth and stuff like that. Not the best, but it's not really going to stand out and is definitely going to be different from a regular Gundam green. And hopefully this gives you an idea of the eye swap there. You can see the way the Vulcans and that camera lens up on the top are all going to be one piece. And what you have here is the plastic is actually molded differently on either of these, so if you want to paint them up properly, you're going to have a raised section there to do the beep 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 eyes. Here I've just got the seal on, but sadly again, Zeheart wins over Ezelkant, and this is going to be relegated to a Ziploc bag. And if putting your neck on an action base 2 is your thing, they're going to give you this attachment point as well. Taking a look at the parts, lots of positives from the tons of colors all in the right places, and the fact that you're going to have yellow throughout to go with the famous tricolors. Definite pluses. The shield, definitely a win in terms of accessories, and that seal is more of a asset than a detriment, I'd say. Probably the only real disappointment is that it's not going to have white on there, but the cool things like the fact that you're going to have the Legilis core whether you want to use it or not, the custom action base, 5 manipulators, and a cool looking head. Can't wait to see it all put together. So stick around for the next part, and why don't you let me know what you think of the parts, and as always, thanks for watching, see ya. Wait a minute, are you telling me that I'm doing it wrong?